Okay, so first question from Annie. Okay, hi Helen. So I'm going to read from my laptop here. Hi Helen, hope all is well. The Facebook videos of your weekend course was great. Just an update, I've had 4 consults come in over the past week and 4 have signed up. 100% conversion. So the people that do my 15 steps to hypnosis business success, I take them through my whole system in terms of what you need to do from the time that the client calls you to the time that you convert to a program. And I'm very happy with the results so far. That's fantastic. Good job. Well done, Annie. And she's got a number of questions. So let's answer Annie's questions first. So question number 1. Smoking clients. You mentioned you only conduct 2 sessions for smokers who have no depression or anxiety. Well, no emotional issues. Let's put it that way. Is the first session like the others? Okay. So just to let you know, Annie, that when I did the online course, I was only doing 2 sessions for clients, for stop smoking clients that don't have emotional blocks, but you really can do up to 4 sessions because the first session, you're right, there is a lot of questions asking them how they do the subconscious pattern of smoking, how they actually do that, and questions, like what is it that how does it impact their life? Like, how does it impact the members of their family? And what will happen if they continue smoking? And then on the other side of the equation, what will happen if they stop smoking? So first session, yes, you're right, Annie. I do questions and I give them tasks, setting them up for the second session. The second session is the stop smoking session. Or you can do limiting beliefs, because I believe that with smokers there's a number of limiting beliefs attached to smoking, such as I can't relax without a cigarette, or whatever that limiting belief is. And then you can do stress, anxiety. So I find personally with a lot of smokers that they do have a lot of stress going on, and so it is a good idea to deal with how to relax and how to eliminate stress, and how to get rid of their limiting beliefs before you do the stop smoking session. So that's what I do for stop smoking, Annie. So you are right. First session, questions and tasking and setting them up for the stop smoking session, then doing a stop smoking session, or limiting beliefs first and then the stop smoking session is even better. And always like to have one just as a follow-up maintenance session. So after you've helped them stop smoking, they can come back 6 weeks after, see how they're going, maybe do a reinforcement session. So we used to do 2, but we now do 4 for our stop smoking clients, broken in that way. Questions, limiting belief, deep trance on stop smoking, and then a follow-up maintenance session sometime after to see how they're going. Question 2. Okay, let's answer these questions. I've got so many. Do you have many smokers that when they first ring, they say they have no anxiety or depression, yet upon the first session you find out that they do? If so, do you then discuss with them that due to XYZ they need to clear the negative emotions first prior to the stop smoking session? We discover all of that in the free consultation. So we don't wait to the first session to find out if there's other deep-rooted emotional issues. We find that out with the way that we conduct the free consultation before they buy their program, if that makes sense. Hi Angela, good to see you. And so we discover at the free consult as to whether they have any emotional issues or not. Hi Shelley, just to let you know, I just saw Shelley come on, that I have recommended your services to everybody at my retreat. So everybody, this is Shelley Ellis, the one that I was telling you about, who sells the earphones that give a really powerful result to clients in terms of listening to that hypnotic sound via the earphones. So Shelley Ellis, who is just on the call at the moment, she actually sells that whole package, so you can contact her directly. All right. Okay, so next question. Excuse me. Is there an online client database that is easy to use that you would recommend? Yes, absolutely. Oh, nice kisses coming. From Shelley. Give me some love hearts if you like what I'm saying. Okay, so is there an online client database that is easy to use that you would recommend? Absolutely, MailChimp. So MailChimp is easy to use, and it's a great database to have when you're sending newsletters and campaigns to clients. So that's the one that I used to use. I now use Active Campaign, but that's only because my needs are so much more complicated these days than they used to be. But I used MailChimp all the way until this year. So MailChimp served the purpose of everything I needed to do in terms of sending out my newsletters. So it's a great way of managing your database and segregating your clients as well, in terms of what kind of client they are, whether they're there for weight loss or anxiety or anything else. All right, next question. How soon into therapy do you normally use timeline, taking into consideration that those that are really anxious, you concentrate on getting them relaxed first? Good question. I think that way too many hypnotherapists spend too much time counseling when the magic lies in the hypnotherapy. Look, that's what we're experts at. We're experts at helping our clients move forward, let go of their negative emotions, limiting beliefs, fears, phobias, whatever, via the subconscious mind, not the conscious mind. So, don't spend too much time counseling. Yes, the beginning of every session, we do some counseling work, but the majority of the time should be spent doing hypnotherapy, which is where the magic lies. And so the typical session for me would be, and how I train my hypnotherapists who do my courses, is that, as soon as the client comes in, first thing you ask them about is their tasks, the tasks that you set them and gave them in the previous week. And once you've checked on the task, very quick chat on how they went during the week, and then you relax them physically and mentally, and put them into hypnosis. Nikki's saying, yes, most people are done talking. Yeah, and with my system, Nikki, it's only the very first session that we do a lot of talking, and then after that, it's all therapy in terms of, hypnosis, because that's where the magic is. Okay, so the question here is, how long before you get them into timeline therapy, given that you need to relax them first? It doesn't take that long to do a proper induction. So I would say that I have the maximum in the chair 15 minutes talking before I get them in the other chair, which is for the hypnotherapy. So get them into the other chair, into the recliner, as soon as possible to do the hypnosis work, because that's where the magic lies. So all you need to do is make sure that you have a great induction and that they are in the place that they need to be. So even with timeline therapy, I still do an induction. So I know the teachings of timeline therapies that you don't need to. You can just ask the client to close their eyes. I actually don't subscribe to that. I think that it's very important that the client is in a state where they are completely mentally, physically relaxed, and we're hitting them at least at the alpha level. So the alpha level of consciousness, where they are in a light trance. And so I find that with clients that come to HypnoFit, they're very anxious and depressed, and so we do need to give them a very good induction before doing any timeline therapy work. So 15 minutes, and then they're in the chair, ready to go. All right, next question. When you stand behind the client and touch or roll their head and rest hands on their shoulders, is this purely to encourage and test relaxation? So the question here is, a lot of people who see me do my demonstrations, I do a lot of head rolling, shoulder touching, arm touching. Is this for the purpose of aiding relaxation? Yes, it is. So that is exactly what I'm doing. So you notice that, as soon as you do this to a client and say, deeper relaxed, they almost drop like this because they become relaxed. So you do it on both shoulders. Deeper relaxed, and then they drop right down. So I'm a big believer in touch. I'm a kinesthetic person, and I love the power of touch. Of course, you need to ask permission to touch before you do that, and then everything is okay. All right, next question. Program costs. Hi Teresa, good to see you. Got lots of people on the call today. You can see the beautiful Surfers Paradise Beach right behind me. It's just glorious. So these are the So after my 3-day retreat, I had 3 days of resting, and this is my 3rd day. And of course, because I love my work, there is no pure rest. I still got to do my Facebook Live Q&As if possible, and then straight after this I'm going to go downstairs and go into the ocean. Beautiful, I can't wait. All right, so next question is about program costs. Once you have your programs created, so the people that are asking me these questions have already are doing my 15 steps, and that's why they're asking me about program costs, because I teach them how to create a program, and I teach them how to create a standard program, a VIP program, and a low-level program. Once you have your programs created with the extras and you've estimated the actual value, with the starter program, do you align the cost of the actual investment with your normal hourly rate and then discount the advanced and ultimate programs at a lower hourly rate? Or do you bang in lots of extras so that your normal hourly rate remains the same? I hope this makes sense. Yes, this does make sense. Hey Mark, how are you? How are you? Good to see you. So this makes sense. Your question does make sense to me. The second part of the answer is right. And so I do not ever alter my hourly rate to be discounted. Okay, so if you're adding in extras, if you're adding in a VIP program or giving them additional value or putting them on a higher program, so basically your hourly rate, that is the lowest, lots of love hearts, yay, the lowest that you are prepared to sell your services for should be at the biggest program, if that makes sense, so that it all goes up from there. You shouldn't be discounting your value at all. All right, next question. Read the questions. Okay, so what the question is here is about, so with my program, I teach my hypnotherapists in the first session to ask a series of 27 breakthrough questions. It's not, they are NLP based questions, so they do have a therapeutic impact, but there is no actual therapy in the recliner chair. So when eliciting significant negative events, do you go from birth to present day or present day to birth? Always start from the beginning back to the current. So always go from birth to present day is the answer to that question. Okay, so we start at the beginning and then come to the present day. We don't start at the present day and go backwards. We have to start at the beginning and move forwards. Okay, all right, good questions, by the way, really great questions. Next question. Client, constant dizziness, like walking on sponges, tingling feeling. I have a client who has been referred to me by a doctor. They have seen everyone from doctors, psychiatrists, neurologists, and they cannot find anything wrong. Wonder why? It's got to be psychosomatic. I miss your face too, Mark. Oh my God. Next time you come to Australia, you've got to come to Surfers Paradise. It is incredible. It's amazing. I love this place. I'm going to end up living here by the time you come back. No, you'll be coming back next year. I know you will. So the neurologists have given him 2 sessions of 38 Botox shots around the cranial area to relieve the pressure, with a 3rd session soon. They advise they should get some relief soon. I'm not sure what the question is here. Oh, okay. I get it. So the question is, it all started when his father passed away 2.5 years ago. He was the oldest and took care of everybody else. Before his father passed, he ended up having an anxiety attack. Okay. So what the question is that, I'll put this down, this laptop. The question is that this particular client is suffering from anxiety, dizziness, can't relax, is not calm, is saying that is not actually experiencing depression, but is exhibiting all the symptoms of depression. And the question is, what do I do with this client? So what I would suggest that you do with this client is actually go through the entire program properly. So go through every single negative emotion and also do depression as well. And if there's no depression, it will only take 2 minutes and you move on to the next emotion. So what I would suggest that you do, hey Michael, my dancing partner, how you going? And Talitha, hey gorgeous girl. So what I would suggest that you do is go through the entire program. So it's always better to make sure rather than not do enough. So I would do all the negative emotions in the order that you've got them, okay? So just say this is what we need to do to make sure that we get to a point where you are feeling calm and relaxed. Clearly, if this client needs how many Botox sessions to relax, clearly they're suffering from stress and anxiety. So you need to take them through the entire program is what I would advise, okay? So fantastic questions. I've got more questions coming up. Heaps of questions to answer, but I don't mind answering them with this view. Amazing view. This is the destination of the ultimate hypnotherapist system, which is the Gold Coast, Surfers Paradise, Queensland, and also the location of HypnoBiz Australia in March 2020, and we're going to do it annually every year after that. To me, this is my favourite place in Australia, my favourite place. I love the Gold Coast so much. I can't tell you how much I love it. All right, so I've got a question from Natalie, who did my retreat just a few days ago here at the Gold Coast. And she said, is it okay to do multiple sessions all at once? Yes, it is, absolutely. I've had people come from overseas and interstate, so they have had limited flexibility. And it is okay to do multiple sessions at once. I would recommend that the very first session is a standalone session. The very first session is exhausting because this is the time where they're telling you about every negative event that's ever occurred in their life. They're very emotional, they're crying a lot, they're connecting dots in their head, so their mind's going frantic, connecting all the dots as to seeing their situation in a different light and seeing it like they've never seen it before. And so I would recommend the first session is definitely a standalone session, and then give them the tasks. And then after that, sure, if you want to put 2-3 sessions together to fast track them, go for it. Nothing wrong with that. I've done that plenty of times with people who have traveled from interstate and overseas. So yeah, go for it. All right, next question is from Sally. So Sally has a client who's experiencing anxiety, and she did everything she was supposed to do. She followed the whole program, the whole system. This is a compliant client. This is one that says yes, is very polite. Now, there's a couple of things there, Sally. With those super compliant clients, don't forget that it's important to say to all clients before you give them therapy, this is what I say. I say that it's really important that you are honest with me. So this is not about pleasing me, because there are many clients out there who are pleasers and they're used to pleasing, and so you might say to them, is the emotion there or has it disappeared? And they'll say it's gone, but it hasn't really gone. So use your intuition to see whether it has actually gone or not, and say, are you sure? Are you sure? But first of all, before you actually even put them into trance, what I say to them is, so what you need to do is you need to be honest. This is not about pleasing me. There are many different ways that I can eliminate those negative emotions, many different techniques that I've got available. So if the emotion is there, you need to say it's there, okay? So when you do that pre-talk, they will be honest. They will actually be honest whether the negative emotion is there or not. Now, from the situation that you've given me, Sally, about this particular client, I am guessing, because you're saying that this client is 22 years old and they're getting a lot of attention from their anxiety. So I would think that there might be some secondary gain there. So, if they're doing everything that they're supposed to do, they're completing all their tasks, they're doing everything in session that they're supposed to do, I would say, so this system works. What do you think will happen when you decide that the anxiety is gone for good? What will happen? So take them through, well, what will happen? And, also ask them, what will no longer be here when the anxiety is gone? So when you're feeling better and when you're feeling calm and relaxed, what won't you have in your life? What's going to be missing? Because it seems like there's some secondary gain there. And at the end of the day, if they've got secondary gain, they're going to be holding on to their negative way of thinking because it's serving them in some way. So you need to ask them what's going to be missing once this problem is solved. So what will you no longer have? And get to the bottom of it so that you're actually giving them an aha moment that they have got secondary gain without actually saying to them, I think you've got secondary gain happening here. So that's what I would do for that particular one. All right. I've got a number of questions from Faye now from New Zealand. She's always got good questions every single week. So the first question is, she wants to know where the hierarchy of emotions come from. They do come from Tad James. So, with my system, the Ultimate Hypnotherapist system, the foundation work is Tad James. I'm a master practitioner in timeline therapy and NLP, but I have changed it significantly. So I have changed it to the Ultimate Hypnotherapist system so that it's simpler, and I've added a lot of things to it. But where does the hierarchy of emotions come from? It comes from Tad James himself. So in terms of what does Faye mean by hierarchy of emotions, she means in terms of what follows anger is sadness, and then what follows sadness is depression, if there is depression. And what's the emotion after that? Because it's like peeling an onion, and so when you peel an onion, you're getting to the next emotion. Okay, but there is also a hierarchy of emotions that is an NLP hierarchy. And when we're talking about, for instance, anger, and how there is, in anger there is many different forms of anger. At the very top we've got fury, and at the very bottom we might have annoyance and frustration. So if you're talking about that hierarchy of emotions, that is an NLP model. So that's what that is. Okay, next question. Faye says that she has a client who has experienced bad sleep after a session, and she's wondering as to why that is. So it could be that because we're uncovering Pandora's box, those negative emotions that we are starting to bring out of the client is keeping them up awake at night, and that's where the pre-talk is really important. So for instance, once you've eliminated the emotion of anger, at the end of the session, what I teach my hypnotherapists to do, and when I say teach my hypnotherapists, they're the ones who study my program from around the world, what I teach them to do is basically say to the client, I know that so for this particular session we've just removed that emotion of anger. Sitting right underneath anger is that emotion of sadness. So this week you might be feeling a little bit sad, a little bit vulnerable, a little bit sensitive. That's okay, we're going to be dealing with it next week. And then what I would suggest that you do with this particular client that is having sleep issues is actually put them in a bit of a 10-minute trance at the end of the session, where you give them a very powerful suggestion about going to bed peacefully and to rest well and to wake up bright and alert and ready for the day. So give them a nice little 10-minute trance about sleeping well, sleeping peacefully, and sleeping throughout the night and waking up feeling well rested and relaxed. Okay, next question, past life. So Faye asked me about past life. Last Q&A, if you missed it, all my Q&As are on my YouTube, Hypnosis Business Success YouTube. All of them are there. So the question is, she said that she experienced great success with past life. Oh, it's magical. It really is magical, because people have a lot of aha moments about what's going on in their life is a direct result of what they have experienced earlier in what they believe is a past life. So it doesn't matter whether you believe in past lives or not. It's all about, is the emotion there? Is it unresolved? And have they got an aha moment because of it? Then that's all that matters. So the question is, Faye's asking is there any need to heal individual events? No, not in a past life. So all the client needs to understand in a past life is what the purpose of that life was, and how they can bring those learnings into the current life. So that's all. You don't need to heal individual events in a past life, because they will get the purpose of it. Final question that I have is about, so I always recommend that no matter what work you do, that you always ensure that your clients have a deep trance session and they experience that. So although most of the negative emotions we eliminate via light trance, it's still very important for a client to experience deep trance and the magic of deep trance before they leave, because it gives them that wow factor and that this is something different. And Faye's asking, what would you do in the deep trance? Of course, you've got to use, excuse me, whatever the client has originally come for, that should be their deep trance session. So make sure that you use a good induction. Look, as a fallback induction, you can't go wrong with Elman. So I love Elman. It's a brilliant induction. There's so many different ways that you could do Elman, and so many different facets of Elman that keep testing whether the client is at the right spot or not. So I absolutely recommend Elman, and like I said, many different ways of doing Elman. Right, so a good induction to begin with, making sure that the client is relaxed by continuing to test them throughout the whole process, which is a great thing about the Elman induction. Use their language, so use the client's language. So for instance, any positive learnings that the client's giving you in previous sessions, use those words because they're very powerful. Use the client's words, use the client's world. So if you are using a script, hypnoticworld.com is a brilliant place to find scripts. If you are using a script, make sure that you do put in there the client's world. So bullet points about what's going on for them. Never say something that is foreign to them. So if someone is telling me, that imagine yourself in a fishing boat relaxing, that would completely get me out of trance because I hate fishing. So, even the smell of raw fish makes me ill. So make sure that you're actually working with the client's world and utilizing what is in their world, what's happening in their world, their language. It's key in terms of doing a very good deep trance session. Also, finish the session with a convincer. So finish the session with something like, every time you see the color red, you will be reminded about all the work that we've done here today and in all the previous sessions, or whatever it is, suggestion that you need to give. So give a convincer, especially in the first deep trance session. The client needs to have a convincer that this is incredible. Every time I see the color red, this is what happens. Okay, so all of those things are important, in terms of delivering an outstanding session. So I hope that all of that's been helpful. There was a huge amount of questions in that session.